On June 17, 1972, members of Richard Nixon's Committee to Re-elect the President, a fundraising organization for his re-election in November 1972, broke into and planted listening devices in the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate Office Building in Washington, D.C. Following this event, journalists uncovered a massive campaign of political spying and sabotage, directed by White House officials and illegally funded by donor contributions. The burglars were arrested and told that their prison sentence could be reduced if they testified. The burglars took the plea deal and started to tell their stories. These testimonies accelerated the ongoing investigation, and it was discovered that Nixon had a secret taping system in the White House that would record all his conversations. Archibald Cox, the prosecutor for this case, obtained a subpoena for the tapes of his conversations, and the court ordered Nixon to give the tapes as evidence. Nixon refused and ordered the Attorney General, Elliot Richardson, to fire Archibald Cox. Richardson refused to do so and resigned, contesting the abuse of power from the president. Nixon then asked William Rockefeller, Richard's second hand in command, to carry out the order and fire Cox. He also refused and resigned as well. Nixon then asked Robert Bork to carry out the order, and he did. This fateful night, where two top government attorneys stood up to the president's abuse of power and refused to carry out his order, is remembered as the Saturday Night Massacre. On February 13, 2025, Danielle Sassoon resigned from her functions as a U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York after refusing to comply with Trump's Justice Department orders. Upon her refusal to carry out the order, Trump's Department of Justice's leaders moved the case to the department's Public Integrity section. However, the head of the department, John Keller, also refused to carry out the order and resigned, along with 3 other members of the section. The case was then moved to the Department of Justice's Criminal Division, where the acting head, Kevin Driscoll, also refused to carry out the order and resigned. Since then, top attorneys keep on resigning, whistleblowing the corruption going on at the Department of Justice. This is the Thursday Afternoon Massacre, and it's worse than Nixon's Saturday Night Massacre. Here's what happened. Eric Adams, mayor of New York City, was indicted in September on 5 counts of corruption. He is accused of receiving bribes from Turkish officials like luxury gifts, free international trips, and more. In exchange, he pressured the city government to allow Turkish consulate to open. He also allegedly accepted donations from foreign entities smuggled in through American donors. He is facing a maximum of 20 years in prison. On Trump's inauguration day, Adams' lawyer asked in a letter that the mayor be pardoned in a federal corruption case that hadn't gone to trial yet. Emmett Bove, the U.S. Deputy Attorney General, former member of Trump's legal team, negotiated a deal with Adams' lawyer. Alex Pirro, one of Adams' lawyer who works with Elon Musk, and Bill Burke, another one of Adams' lawyer who's worked in the Trump administration in the past. The deal was the charges would be dismissed without prejudice, so they could be brought back in the future as long as Mayor Adams, a Democrat, agrees to cooperate with ICE and detain illegal immigrants in New York, allegedly. In Bove's order to dismiss the case, he writes, "The Department of Justice reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence or the legal theories on which this case is based. And the pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration." Basically, as long as Adams acts as Trump's muppet and follow all his order, his case will be dismissed. Not only that, but since it's a dismissal without prejudice, the Trump administration can threaten to reopen the case if he doesn't cooperate with them. Obviously, this is not a good faith legal argument, nor is it ethical. This theory has been basically confirmed by Tom Homan, who was appointed by Trump to be in charge of all the deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Homan and Adams were on Fox News when this happened.
Doesn't come through.
Maybe you're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
Homan just admitted on national television that there was an agreement between Adams and the Trump administration. The Department of Justice's Emil Bove ordered Danielle Sassoon to file a motion of dismissal on Eric Adams' case, basically telling her to drop the case. Sassoon refused and resigned from her position, writing in her resignation letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Adams has argued in substance, and Mr. Bove appears to concede, that Adams should receive leniency for federal crimes solely because he occupies an important public position and can use that position to assist in the administration's policy priorities. She also wrote, because the law does not support a dismissal, and because I am confident that Adams has committed the crimes with which he is charged, I cannot agree to seek a dismissal driven by improper considerations. She held a meeting with Adams' lawyers on January 31st and claims that she was offered what amounted to be a quid pro quo, insinuating that Adams would help reinforce Trump's administration's policies only if the indictment were dismissed. It's important to understand that Sassoon was employed by President Trump. She has an impressive resume working on cases like the prosecution of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. She is a member of the Federalist Society, a conservative legal organization, and a registered Republican. She did not refuse to drop the case because she disagrees with ICE's mass deportations or Trump's politics. She refused to drop the case because she took an oath as a lawyer and she must respect it. It takes a lot of integrity to go against your own personal beliefs and stay true to the law, risking your job and your reputation, all while 8 months pregnant nonetheless. Her resignation led to many other resignations from very notable and reputable attorneys. Following this collective refusal of the Department of Justice's attorneys to drop Eric Adams' case, the department's leadership allegedly put all the Public Integrity Section lawyers into a room with 1 hour to decide who will dismiss Adams' indictment or else all will be fired. This tweet comes from Barbara McQuaid, a former U.S. attorney. Donald Trump went on to tweet himself, "He who saves his country does not violate any law." Edward Sullivan, a veteran career prosecutor, decided to file the dismissal motion to save the other 30 attorneys' jobs working in the Public Integrity Section, according to 3 people briefed on the interaction. The motion to drop the case was then filed. However, Judge Deli Ho scheduled a Wednesday hearing to ask Adams' legal team what are the reasons for the dismissal. While Bove and Pam Bondi got what they wanted, they left a sour taste in DOJ's attorney's mouths. In fact, Hagen Scotton, an assistant U.S. attorney at the Southern District of New York, pursuing the Adams case, wrote in his resignation letter, "No system of utter liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges or the stick of threatening to bring them again to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives." And there is a tradition in public service of resigning in a last-ditch effort to head off a serious mistake. Some will view the mistake you are committing here in the light of their generally negative views of the new administration. I do not share those views. I can even understand how a chief executive whose background is in business and politics might see the contemplated dismissal with leverage as a good, if distasteful, deal. But any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never gonna be me. This comes from a man that served 9 years in the US military and received 2 bronze medals as a troop commander in the 5th Special Forces Group. Once again, we see an attorney stepping down not because of a disagreement in politics, but because what the Department of Justice is doing is simply illegal and an abuse of power. Let it be remembered that members of the Department of Justice like Danielle Sassoon, Hagen Scotton, John Keller, Kevin Driscoll stood up for the law's integrity against their own personal interests and benefits, just like Elliot Richardson and William Rickelsaw did 50 years before them. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for another episode. Bye!